Typically on Joshing Around, we like to try to keep things pretty light. However, I wanted to talk about something that's quite a bit more serious this week. A few weeks ago, Penn State received sanctions from the NCAA regarding the Sandusky sex abuse scandal that basically rocked one of the foundations around here. Penn State's a foundation. And it was something that many people took to heart for a myriad of different reasons. Bottom line is the whole thing was just despicable. Sandusky is a monster. He's a convicted sex predator, and he destroyed the lives of many young boys over more than a decade of time. We all know those things to be true and factual. In the aftermath of that, the NCAA handed out its sanctions to Penn State and the university, and also to Joe Paterno, who had already passed away. I have issue with the Penn State sanctions. And while a lot of people aren't taking the sanctions to task publicly, a lot of people are discussing it privately and in small groups and conversations, and they're disappointed and frustrated with what the NCAA did. The reason people don't want to talk about it is this was a monstrous crime, a heinous crime, and that can't be diminished in any way. However, when the NCAA got on their soapbox and they decided that X, Y, and Z, these things are what are going to occur, and this is what's going to happen to Penn State, they overstepped their bounds, and here's why. One, they talked about trying to promote a culture of education, and education is important. But in the same vein, they took away scholarships. Scholarships, those are people who were going to go to school and learn. Two, they took away the bowl games for several years to come for the Penn State football team. Now, I understand the whole thing as far as revenue goes. They don't want Penn State to get that revenue from the bowl games. And that makes sense to me. I'm not worried about Penn State financially. They're going to be fine. But the students who are still there and the student athletes, the football players, they didn't know anything about this. They did not know that this was going on. When they signed up, the kids who are coming in now as freshmen, they were signing up for a stellar university to play football and to get a great education. And I think punishing them is not, I don't think it's in line with what should be done. Fine the university, fine them $60 million every year for the next 5 years instead of just 1 year. I'm not worried about that. They're going to be fine financially. But the thing that really gets in my craw about this was what I felt was the NCAA trying to get their pound of flesh from a dead man. Joe Paterno died following all this scandal breaking. I believe that he died in some result because of the scandal. It was a huge burden on his life. And, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I feel that he is innocent of anything. I even said in a editorial that I had written, I met him, I was enamored with him, I looked up to him, but in the end, I was disappointed with him. More than anything, that's one thing I can say for sure. I was disappointed. I don't know how much he knew. None of us will know how much he knew because he's dead. Bottom line, he didn't do enough, and I understand that. The thing is, when the NCAA made their decision to take away and nullify all of his victories, all of Penn State's victories for more than a decade of time, and basically rewrite history, that's ridiculous. That can't happen. We can't rewrite history. Those games were won by Penn State. When Barry Bonds or Mark McGuire or someone is accused of using a substance to help enhance their performance, those records aren't even taken from them. There's an asterisk put beside them in the record books because they may have had some sort of substance help. In this case, this didn't help him in any way. This didn't help the team in any way. If you find out after the fact any person is a murderer or a bad person or has done something wrong, that doesn't take away the things that they accomplished when that happened, during that time. Those games were still won by Penn State, and they were still won by Joe Paterno. So put your asterisk there and explain why you're upset with it and why you don't want him to represent the NCAA. Do that, that's fine. But you can't rewrite history. One of the players that was on one of those teams during the time that the NCAA says Penn State didn't win, win any games, said, "I have a plate in my body that says otherwise." I completely understand his frustration. Those things did happen. You can't rewrite history. That's my take on it. If you want to listen to other things I have to say and rant about, you can follow me on Twitter at JKTypist, and for all your local news, Herald-Standard.com. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
At the Herald-Standard.com, our mission is to provide news, information, and services to enable our communities to prosper. Every day, we strive to achieve this goal through 3 dynamic products. Wake up each morning to a copy of the Herald-Standard.com newspaper delivered to your home. Enjoy the e-edition and exact replica of our print product on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Or secure unlimited access to our full-coverage digital news site online at Herald-Standard.com. One local news leader, 3 great options.